Should I buy first or should I sell first? We're in the spring market. People are talking about real estate, and this is one of the most common questions that we always get. But it matters. It matters what the market is like, and it matters what your home is like. I'm Bwanka with the Compass team,
And it's Safras with the Compass team.
and today is all about whether you should buy first or whether you should sell first, and kind of everything in between. We got some good examples for you all throughout. So let's get started with Safras' example. It's a real life example, something that he's been through, and there's gonna be learning lessons throughout it as well. So Safras, give us a little rundown of the property that you just purchased, and then we're gonna start talking about the things that went well and the things that didn't go well.
So, being in real estate, always looking for sometimes upsizing, sometimes sideways moves. But this one, I've been looking for quite some time to upsize. Time and place and location. Nothing worked. And even this one, I just, similar to most people, right? You already own a home, so you're comfortable. You're not like, I need to do this, I need to do that. Let me just go out and look at some real estate. So I started looking at some real estate and walked into this house. And while I was doing that, I told my wife, we're going in, but we're not buying this. And we're just going in to have a look. So we walked in, a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, larger house than mine, of course. And we walked outside and got in the car, and I just said, what do you think about that? And she just looked at me and smiled. I was like, you want to buy it? And she's like, I think it'll be great. So there we go. This was on like a Saturday. Called the agent, started the negotiations verbally a little bit, and then put an offer. It was accepted. And, I straight up, don't do what I did, okay? So I bought it. A few things worked in my favor. I was able to get a really long closing.
Okay, and even before that, let's talk about price, because we've been in a market that we're in right now. Normally, Toronto is a seller's market. The market that we're in right now, we are out there, we are helping clients and also helping ourselves get
Absolutely.
properties at an amazing price right now. So walk us through kind of some of the negotiation and kind of where you ended up with it.
So this property originally was listed at 2.1 million. Everybody knows the market over like 1.5 is always tough, right? Especially in this time. They slowly reduce the price. And I've seen this property for a month. I noticed the price drops, and I was like, hey, you know what? When they relisted it at around 1.6 million, I was like, this is kind of like it. I can maybe figure something out.
But real quick, they didn't go from 2.1 to 1.6.
No, not right away. It went from 2.1, 1.99. 1.899, then it went down to 1.7, back to 1.899, and then when I saw it, it was at 1.639 or so. Sometimes you don't know what's going on in the market, so I called the agent. Was like, hey, you have it listed at this, but are you expecting more? Right? We see that a lot. Some people just have offers anytime, but they want the 1.8. I'm not gonna buy that for 1.8. So I started negotiating and said, I'm not going to pay your 1.639, but I'm really willing to come to the table, bring you an offer on paper, show my seriousness. And I did that, and we ended up in the mid 1.5s.
Okay. So mid 1.5s, and then you said you got a really long closing. Talk to us about why you got a really long closing.
The reason I got a really long closing is because I wasn't anticipating actually making that move. Okay? I have a house, I'm comfortable, life is great, but I know in order to get my house market ready, which we try to do with all our properties, is to make it spectacular, you do have to spend some money. So I knew I needed the 5 months to not just list it and have it sold. That could have happened quickly. But it was more so I wanted to make it nice and pretty. All the updates that I felt was wrong in the house, living there for 10 years. I've lived in it for 11 years now. I wanted to make some changes so that I can get in a perfect world top dollar in today's market.
Okay, so you want to make the house spectacular. Again, in a market like we're in right now, you have to have,
Absolutely.
Isn't it? You don't have to have a beautiful home, but beautiful homes are going to sell a lot faster than just everyday home. Just put your home on the market. If you can do things now to make your home better and easier to sell. We've done a video on it. That is going to help a lot.
Yeah. So life in hindsight, yeah, I should have done this work a long time ago. A lot of the small stuff, very minor, but the minor stuff, when you're doing it all together, it accumulates. So that's why I did the 5 months closing. And yeah, you've seen it. I've been working on these renos for about a month now. It's already been over a month.
Okay. So now you said people don't do what you did. Why do you say that?
The reason I would say that is we're in the industry. We have a large network of people, service providers, where to buy the product. As an example, you're changing the floors, where to buy it. But, even as a professional in this industry, this is what I do day in and day out. It still has taken me up to this point about 45 days. Now imagine, client calls us and says, hey, actually, we bought this house. We're thinking about selling ours, or we need to start. You're starting way behind. Mm-hmm. And luckily I got it's very much luckily. It doesn't happen often with a 5-month closing, but imagine I had a 90-day closing. This conversation would be a lot different.
We would not be having the conversation right now.
I would not be here right now, So that's why, it's still 45 days, and it's not a lot of work. So you're like, oh, the floors, how long do they take? 5 days? Cool. You have to go buy the floors. It might take a week or two to get delivered. Then you have to align that date with the contractor, right? There's so much dates involved, and if you miss 3 days here, then the contractor's like, I don't have time this week. It might be another 7 days. So it's so much accumulation of, not just, we're talking about one contractor, but now you're seeing a painter, right? You need to fix the leak in the toilet. Whatever it may be, all of these it's typically quick work, maybe a day, maybe 5 days, maybe 7, but arranging it takes a lot of time and coordination.
No, for sure. So, and just to your point before, Safras said, okay, we have all of these services, all of these trades. At the Compass team, we have a concierge team. So if you're ever in a situation like this, if you need any types of trades, services, anything along those lines, always feel free to reach 100%. Out, and we'll be able to put you in contact with them. Plumber, landscaper, painter, whatever it is that you need, just reach out to us. But let's get back to talking about, should you buy first, should you sell first? Safras shared his story, and he's still kind of working through it.
Absolutely.
Once his house is sold, you're gonna be able to see that as well. But I had a client who was also in this should I buy first, should I sell first? But a lot of people, the people who should buy first are people who are picky people.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're very picky, you know exactly what it is that you want, and there's not one of them out there already, or 2 or 3 of them out there already. It's just something you're waiting on, and every single time something comes out, you go and you see it. Someone like that, you're gonna have to buy first. You're gonna be in Safras' situation. But what you need to do while you're getting ready to find the place you're going to buy, you need to be getting your home prepped. You need your home prepped and ready to go, so that you put in the offer on this other place, you win that place, and now that same week you're ready to go live with your house, or your everything is decluttered and ready to go. When it comes to selling a home, I've seen people move very, very fast, ready over a weekend. And there's also people who move very, very slow. It takes them 6 months to get ready. So you got to know the type of person that you are also when it comes to something like this.
Yeah, and it also helps getting us in early, right? So we're taking out clients looking to buy, and we know they want to or need to sell. We try to get in there as early as possible so that we could also tell them what to do, right? Because, we do this day in and out. Most people, maybe they sell once or twice in their life. So they might think all the small things that we would make their house we would do to make their house spectacular, we would just tell them up front. So now that we're looking, sometimes it'll take 60 days to even find a place. So within that time frame, we're already ready to go. So it expedites the process, but also gives the client and us confidence. All right, we know as soon as we buy, we could sell this. And then we'll have a time frame. We have all the data available. So it'll make life a lot more stress-free.
Yeah, I would say for sure if we're in a seller's market, which the GTA is usually in a seller's market, but right now we are in a buyer's market, a heavy buyer's market.
Oh, yeah.
When you're in a seller's market, just wait for the house to come that you want. And it's not even going to be easy to win it, but go win the house that you want. Then you know your house is going to sell because you're in a seller's market. Majority of houses, if they're priced properly, they will sell. But when we're in a buyer's market like we're in today, it's going to be, you have to be a lot more strategic.
Absolutely. And another thing is, if you specifically require all the equity you have in your house or condo to buy the second one, that's also a question, right? Some people may have, the 20% down plus all the closing costs. Also a different conversation, right? But if you say, Saf, I have closing costs, 50K, 60K, whatever, but all my equity is in this house, and now I require that house to be sold to buy, that's another can of worms, right?
Sell first.
Absolutely.
Sell first.
Absolutely.
So I think, like, honestly, we're not really even advising anybody to sell their house unless there's somebody who's upsizing, unless you're moving, unless you have to sell. In a buyer's market, like, there's no other reason really why you should. But life happens, family happens. Sometimes it's time to upsize. You know what? I can sell my home right now, and I can get the home that I want to buy, that I've been dreaming of, for $300,000 cheaper than it normally is, right? So that's when it can be a really good time. Like upsizing, it's a great time to upsize right now.
Yeah, and the same thing I did. Same thing we tell our client. So, I know the value of my house, of course. So when I saw this one, I was like, oh, normally this would be a $2 million house perhaps, normal in like a seller's market. But now I'm getting a huge discount, whereas in my house was obviously still lower than, in a seller's market. But the jump wasn't crazy where I had to like really sit and worry about, should I sell my house first and then buy?
Yeah. So I have another example story sometime where this has happened. The client that I had, it was, we were out, we were looking. She really wanted a place, something a little bit bigger. It was an upsizer, and went out, found a place, and actually the agent reached out and said, you know what, like, because we weren't able to come to a common ground, the agent said, you know what, we can give you a great, amazing price on it. So she got an amazing price on the buy, every single thing that she wanted. Like, this was the perfect home for her, every single thing that she wanted. But then now there became a little bit more of a time crunch. So now we were able to sell it. We were able to get her close to the price that she was looking for, but there's stress that comes with it. So you just have to really understand, if you're going to go out there and you're going to buy the home that you want, number one, do what Safras did. Get the longest closing that you can get. Because even if you go and you're able to sell your house and someone wants a shorter closing, most likely the other person is going to let you move the closing up as well, right?
Yeah. It's much easier to move up closing than to extend.
Yeah, after. So that's another thing too, is like, once the contract is done, if both sides agree on something, it can still be changed after the contract is done. But yes, both sides do have to agree. But almost pretty much every single time we've ever asked for an earlier closing, we've been able to get an earlier closing.
Just like even my purchase, they're like, Saf, you tell us you want to close in 30 days, we'll move. So that's why I got the longer one, just in case, right? So there's so many moving parts and moving pieces. But I want to hit on your point. You said with a client, it's sometimes the most important thing when you're selling a home. For everybody's different. They handle stress differently. Sometimes it's urgency. So guess what? If you're trying to sell something urgently, you can't, in a buyer's market, also get top dollar every single time, right? To get it top dollar, certain things need to happen, right? But sometimes, like even for I'm solely speaking on a personal basis, I have budgeted my sale at slightly even below, just because, when you're crunching numbers, especially when you're upsizing, instead of, you bought first, as an example, like myself, I can't budget top dollar for my home. I kept a little leeway. If I get it, fantastic. If I don't, I budgeted correctly. So it's better to undershoot than overshoot, because if I overshot and I was off, let's say even $20,000, $30,000, it does affect me heavily when it gets time to close, right?
Okay, so with everything that we've said, what do you think in a market like right now? What's your biggest pieces of advice?
My biggest piece of advice is and this is advice for myself as well. It's even if you're in the realm of thinking about upsizing or moving, start having your home ready.
Mm-hmm.
Start earlier. You have lived there for X amount of years. You know what, even the small problems, right? You don't want to run into it while you're getting their listing ready, because again, it takes time, right? Had I taken my own advice, I would have done most of this stuff earlier this year. I had, January, February, March. I could have done it, bought something, boom, right? So that's my number one piece of advice is have the home as ready as you can make it as soon as you start looking or even have the idea of looking.
Yeah. So again, we have all the trades, we have all the services.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're open to the conversation. If you want to find out what do I need to do to get my home ready to sell, because some people need major renovations, but the majority of people don't need major renovations.
That's correct, yeah.
And you shouldn't go and do, like, a lot of times people do things that are not important, whereas we're able to show you here's where to get the most out of your money.
Absolutely. Yeah, same thing for me. Because we're in the market, same thing. This is why I always say, if you're even in the idea of selling, call us. We'll come and we'll tell you exactly what we would change, because every area is different. You can't go to Durham and say, these are the things I would do in Durham, and then do this in Toronto. Very different marketplaces. Who we sell to typically in those areas are very different. So you want to, if you have really nice floors, leave it as is. Typically it would just be paint, right? Like paint, staging, just make it nice and pretty. But if there's renovations involved, definitely get us involved, because when you're selling it, the renovation is not about your enjoyment anymore. Mm-hmm. It's about the marketplace. What does the marketplace want and need? That's how if you even wanted to touch a renovation, is what we would do.
Exactly. Okay, so if you're interested in booking a time to meet with us, just click the link below. Just click on Discovery Call. 15, 20 minutes. We'll be able to kind of help you guys get sorted out. And if this is a video that you really liked, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, send it to somebody who's thinking of buying. And again, when you're in a buyer's market, you want to sell first. And when you're in a seller's market, you want to buy first. And if you got any questions, comments, throw it down in the comments. We'll be happy to help you. But that's it for this week. I'm Bwanka with the Compass team.
And it's Safras with the Compass team.
And we're looking forward to seeing you guys soon.